International Webinar on Biochemical and Nutritive Values Edible Flowers, organized by Academics Conference Network in association with IRAS Webinars. On the behalf of the entire organizing committee, I'm Isaac Behra, organizing secretary, would like to welcome you all for this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our organization. The motto behind this non-profit association is to bridge the gap between students, professors, academics, and industrialists from multidiscipline. Apart from organizing various seminars, expert talks, and conferences, we have various highly rated multidisciplinary journals in the field of science, engineering, technology, and management. Since our inception, we have been arranged various international conferences at various parts of the world like New York, London, Australia, Hong Kong, Dubai, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, India, etc. More than 1 lakh people across the globe are associated with us, and more than 5 lakh research papers have been presented and published during our journey. Today, I am glad to welcome you all for this as a member of this fastest growing network and for the advancement of science and technology in terms of research and innovation. Today, we were very much fortunate to have an eminent professor and expert who is joining this webinar as expert speaker and guest. Her name is Professor Dr. Miss.R.Mary Josephine. Presently, she is working as a principal at St. Joseph College, Tirupur. Now, I'd like to welcome our Professor R. Mary Josephine to deliver the webinar. Ma'am, you can start, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you for your nice introduction. And I have to thank the organizer, especially for giving this wonderful opportunity to share the important topic that will be useful for each and everyone. So I'm able to give a brief account of my research project work. I give you a general introduction about the vegetarian, especially non-vegetarian people. They take any type of goat or hen or whatever fish they eat, but purely vegetarian people, they know what are the parts which are useful biochemically and that it has the medicinal values, mostly the health point. What are the various parts of the plant? Some plants, the entire plant is you can consume as a whole plant. For example, take coriander. From the root, stem, the flower, the leaves, everything, all parts are edible. Similarly, the coconut also. Each and every part, it has some value, and it has biochemical and nutritive values, and also medicinal cosmetic values also there. So some vegetative parts like a stem is edible. In some cases, root tuber is edible. In certain cases, only the leaf is edible. But I'm going to give you the flowers, not only its ornamental and attractive and aesthetic value, it also has biochemical, nutritive and medicinal values also there. Many flowers are edible, flowers are there, but I'm going to give you a few selected flowers and with a comparative biochemical and nutritive analysis of the selected edible flowers. So we'll see what are the flowers that is consumed nowadays because they are when compared to other pulses and root tubers, the flowers are highly nutritive, and you can easily cook those flowers. And we did the cooking quality of the flowers also. Some flowers you have to boil it quickly. Some flowers you can consume directly as raw. For example, rose petals you can consume directly, and rose kulkund they are making from rose petals. So some flowers you can directly consume. Some after cooking, the different minutes, the cooking time duration also it counts. It has a lot of values. So you come to research. This project is carried out in the Nimna College laboratory, and it's a teamwork we did. The Uma, Karimala, and Yolini all they work carried out this project work. So come to flowers. What's the definition? Flowers always make people better, happier, and more helpful. They are sunshine, food and medicine for the soul. It's quote by Luther Burbank. See, many different cultures have incorporated flowers into the traditional foods. Edible flowers have become familiar garnishes in countless restaurants in the 21st centuries. So coming to benefits of the edible flowers, the significance of edible flowers is often evaluated from the aspect of the potential health effects. Especially Indian herbalists, they have made detailed recordings about various edible flowers in authentic food preparation. So those days, if you observe in cooking, they use all these flowers. They directly collect from the open fields, a wild collection. Nowadays, we have started cultivating these flowers. But those days, simply they collect from the wild collection only, and they put all those things in the cooking. As directly they consume some, they boil and they consume. So the early Hindus, Astras, Incas, realizing the importance of the flower, and they have included them most of the traditional nutrients, some of which are still very much put in practice also. So coming to values of these edible flowers, they have mildly bitter taste. It's not fully taste like other vegetables, but it's with slightly bitter taste, slightly acidic flavor, and highly rich in vitamin C, vitamin A, thiamine, riboflavin, and rich in flavonoids that can reduce free radicals in body. That means what? You can delay in aging. So this free radical is removed or reduced means that is totally oxygenated, means your body remains same. That means you can maintain your young age, youthfulness. That is, you can delay in aging if you consume more edible flowers. You can directly consume rose petals. You can eat, or if you're not like raw petals, you can with some value addition, you can consume, put some sugar candy, you can make it rose gulkan, you can rose water, you can prepare from that. Then excellent source of minerals, and not only phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sodium also. Because after 40 years, the bone, the nails, the teeth, everything is made up of calcium, phosphorus only. So these bones, they strengthen the bones. So the bone become weak means so we cannot walk properly, you cannot stand properly. So this gives strength, and loosening the teeth, that also the gum become very weak. For that, if you consume more this flowers, because they are rich in minerals, especially the calcium and phosphorus, non-vegetarians, they are taking that non-veg food, no problem. But pure vegetarian especially, they have to consume this because they are rich in this kind of minerals. So edible flowers play important role in medicinal use and are used in antiviral. Nowadays we are facing the COVID problem, the coronavirus. It's a type of virus. So it has antiviral power. So you can take in the form of syrup or juice, or you can prepare fresh juice, or you can cook and eat like a vegetables, or you can take the extract and use it, and you can spray also. It has a lot of antiviral, antibiotic, antifungal, and anti-inflammatory, antiseptic, sedative effects also, and help to treat especially varicose vein. So these are the medicinal values of the edible flowers. So these are the edible flowers I selected for the studies. First flower is the onion flower, and the next is the lotus, and this is banana flower and moringa flower. And this agati, that is sesbania, mostly they take the leaves, but you can take sesbania flowers also. This with the two colors, pink color and white color, we compared both the flowers. It has each has its own value. And clitoria, then rose, and cauliflower. These are the 8 edible flowers I selected for the present study, and this is the mineral profile of the selected sample. So if you compare the minerals of all the samples, say nitrogen, potassium, phosphate, calcium, magnesium, chloride, and iron, sodium, and sulfate. So if you compare this, in all these the flour is very high in almost all minerals, that is banana flour. So this is a nitrogen content of the selected sample. Among this selected sample, Clitoria and lotus flower has more nitrogen content. So when compared with the Rosa centrifolia. So this is a potassium content of the sample. So in this potassium also we need nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, everything for all vital activities, biological activities. This Clitoria tenia compared to all other selected sample, potassium is high when compared to other sample. So all these we need in limited traces only. But calcium and magnesium, everything World Health Organization, they recommended this much amount we have to consume daily dietary allowances. They represented this much amount you have to consume. So this is the phosphate content of the selected sample. Among that, the cauliflower, it has more phosphate content when compared with the other samples. So this is the calcium content of the selected sample. When compared to other sample, Musa paradisiaca, that is high. So not with much difference, but Musa has high calcium content. Magnesium also, that is highly present in Sesbania grandiflora, that is Agathi in Tamil says the Agathi with a little bitter taste when compared with the other flower. Normally they consume the leaves, but you can consume red color and white color flowers, Agathi flowers also. So this is the comparative table of the chloride content. Allium sipo, onion is very good for chloride. So you can take onion flowers. So they mostly for decoration and for garnishing, they use onion basal part of the onion flower stalk, but you can consume the flowers also. Usually they take only the leaves and stems and the peduncle part, that means the stalk of the flower also you can consume. The flower is very rich in chloride content. And this is a comparative content of the iron content. Iron also is very much important. That's why nowadays they are asking to use iron vessels. But instead, you can go for this flowers. You can consume Clitoria. So normally it's attractive bright color flower Clitoria that cure the ear related diseases because the shape of the flower itself resembles the ear. But you can take the Clitoria and Sesbania for iron content instead of taking the going for other activity. Comparison of sodium content, if you take Clitoria again, that is rich in sodium content. So sodium and potassium, we have to balance it. So this is high in Clitoria. And this is the sulfate content. Moringa is very good. Moringa soup, flower soup is very important. Moringa leaf and flower, it has a lot of energy booster, immunity booster. You could daily 1 tumbler juice of moringa flower or moringa leaf is very good for your health. So that also delay in aging and rich in sulfate content. So moringa is very good for almost all. It has antiviral and also it has a lot of medicinal value, and this it's called an immunity booster. Now come to total protein content. You may think only the pulses are rich in protein, but other fruits, vegetables, including flowers, also rich in protein. So if you take the protein-rich pulses or nuts, that has a flatulent factor that causes gastritis. But that flatulent factor, you see, gas. So that results in indigestion. But these flower vegetables you can consume. There's no such flatulent factors in this flower. So you can take Musa paradisiaca a week, at least once in a week, you can consume this Musa paradisiaca. If you don't find time for it, for cutting, you can prepare juice and you can consume. So this is the amount of total true protein content after boiling time, especially the leafy vegetables and flowers. They are rich in vitamins. The vitamins are easily soluble in water and they are denature if you heat it at very high temperature. So always you have to use low flame and the cooking time 5 to 10 minutes is the maximum time. Otherwise, the vitamins, the everything that the property will be totally denatured. But at certain point we checked, there's a sudden increase in the production of protein and glucose that may be due to release in some saturated protein, complex protein may be released at high temperature, and if you increase the time duration. So coming to glucose content of the flowers, in that Sesbania actually that is with a bitter taste, but we think because of bitter taste there is a less glucose content. But but here it's in reverse case. Sesbania it has high glucose content when compared because we had doubt while preparing this. Every time we repeat it so many times because that may be due to error. This high glucose content is present in Sesbania, that is in Nagati. But after repeating so many times, we got the same result. When compared with the other samples, it has high glucose content. And now come to glucose content at different intervals of boiling to find out the cooking quality. Here also again, there is sudden increase in accumulation of this glucose that may be due to release in complex starch that may be converted to glucose. So that means what, based on this, you have to increase or decreasing the cooking time. For that only this values help you whether to cook for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So in certain cases, this cooking time, if you increase there's an increase in content of glucose, but some sample there is no change. Where if you increase the time also, there is no change. And this is the table showing the starch content present in the sample. So compared to all other sample, the rose petals that has a high amount of starch. So you can consume rose petals, the rose glucose. It has a lot of medicine value also. So this mostly for worshipping, they are using the rose garland. So instead of throwing as waste, that waste from that you can prepare glucose, and you can dry and prepare rose powder, and you can use it as a face mask also. In addition to that, you can prepare rose glucose from the garland. You can prepare all this instead of dumping as waste. You can prepare rose powder for face mask, and you can prepare into some jaggery and prepare rose glucose. So amount of starch content to find out the cooking quality at different intervals of boiling time. Again, there is a sudden increase in the starch content after 15 minutes of cooking. So the first 5 minutes and 10 minutes, there is no much difference that remains same in the rose petal, but after 15 minutes, there is sudden increase. So in brassica, that is cauliflower, so if you increase the boiling time, that is good also, because mostly that is treated with pesticides, and because of that worm, it's very difficult to grow disease-free brassica. So that in that case, put it in boiling water, remove the worms, and you can cook it. So it has very rich in starch content. Moringa also rich in starch content. So starch is very much important for our body. So you can calcium instead of taking that paddy, so that paddy that is rich in carbohydrate, but here you can take these vegetables. They are rich in starch and glucose content. You can avoid because this is compared with paddy and other grains. This is cheaper, and taste wise, the flavor wise also it's very good. So coming to conclusion, the results obtained explicitly indicate the values of edible flour. The high content of proteins, carbohydrates, which is higher than in most of the fruits and vegetables or spices what we consume in our daily life. All the flour should not consume by diabetic patients because of high glucose content. This point is very important because they're rich in glucose. So diabetic patients should avoid such kind of flours. The obtained results should contribute to the popularization of edible flours as a new and prospective source for the food industry, as well as a promising object of human nutrition. I thank all the participants who participated in this keynote address or the presentation. I'm very grateful to the SORP organizers also. They're giving me a good chance to share my research project ideas. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor, for sharing your valuable time and for joining this webinar. On the behalf of Organizing Committee, Academics Conference and Network, NAREG webinars, I would like to thank all our sponsors and coordinators. I would also like to thank our president. We will be happy to hear your comments and compliments or suggestions at our Facebook and Twitter page. This video will be available shortly in our YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe our official YouTube channel, IDBC Conferences and Seminar, for all past and upcoming webinars and expert lectures. Thank you all. See you on another webinar soon. Thank you, Professor, for sharing your valuable time and for joining this webinar.